In the 1500s, Portuguese ships arrived with cannon mouths. They didn't come to trade, they came to conquer. They bombarded Kilwa into flames, looted Mombasa, colonized Zanzibar. They tore down mosques and built forts, silenced poets and chained potters. Welcome to Omar's story Nook, where history gets spicy, legends get a remix, and imagination runs wild. Every tale you hear is a whisper of Omar, rising from coral ruins, drifting on monsoon winds, and carried in the rhythm of waves and forgotten poetry. Africa's history is deep, but some of it is soaked in salt water, hidden in ruins along the sea. When people speak of African empires, they often start inland: Mali, Ghana, Great Zimbabwe. But turn east, face the sea, and you'll find another kind of empire, not carved by conquest, but shaped by trade, coral, and conversation. For over 1,000 years, the Swahili coast was a glittering necklace of city-states, from Mogadishu to Kilwa, Mombasa to Zanzibar. They didn't build pyramids. They built ports. They didn't conquer neighbors. They welcomed the world. Arab traders, Persian sailors, Chinese diplomats, they all came. They all stayed, and they all became Swahili. This wasn't tribal, it was urban, cosmopolitan, maritime, magnificent. They spoke Swahili, a Bantu language kissed with Arabic. They dressed in silk robes, prayed in stone mosques, traded gold, ivory, myrrh, and metaphors. And then they were erased. But memory has tides. This is the story of the Swahili city-states, Africa's coral palaces, coastal libraries, and sea-borne sovereignty. Not lost, just waiting. Picture the Swahili coast in its prime, 1,500 miles of East African shoreline from today's Somalia to Mozambique. By the 8th century, Bantu-speaking Africans had long been fishing, farming, trading. Then came Arab and Persian dhows, sailing with the monsoon winds. What began as seasonal commerce became a permanent cultural embrace. By the 12th century, the Swahili had built entire stone cities: Kilwa, gateway to southern gold fields; Gedi, tucked in coastal rainforest; Mombasa, buzzing with ships; Zanzibar, a perfume of clove and salt. These weren't huts in the sand. These were cities with indoor plumbing, rain harvesting systems, coral brick mansions, glass windows imported from India, and their ports, buzzing with boats from Yemen, Gujarat, Sri Lanka, even China. This was the Silk Road of the sea. They exported gold from the interior, ivory, ebony, tortoiseshell, slaves. They imported porcelain, spices, silk, steel. Their economy ran on trade winds and tidal clocks. Their wealth glittered, but never grew greedy. Because the Swahili didn't just move goods, they moved ideas, languages, philosophies, names, marriages, stories. This wasn't globalization, this was Swahiliization. Step inside a Swahili home. The door, massive and carved, inscribed with stars, calligraphy, fish symbols, and vines. The walls, made of coral limestone, cool to the touch, whispering sea. Inside, courtyards bursting with lemon trees, pools to reflect moonlight, rooms arranged around privacy and peace. And above it all, rooftop gardens where women would gather under the stars, sharing news with spice and laughter. These cities were not copies of Mecca or Cairo, they were Swahili. Their Islam was African. Mosques stood beside baobab trees. Mihrabs faced Mecca, but the call to prayer danced with drums and ululations. Women wore bright kangas wrapped in proverbs. They owned stalls in the marketplace. They sang while bargaining. The men wore long robes, but their souls wore rhythm. And at night, poetry flowed like wine, written in Arabic script, spoken in Swahili verse, sweet, sharp, metaphorical. Here, Islam met Ubuntu, trade met tradition, stone met soul. They were not caught between worlds. They were the center where worlds met, and they built it all with coral pulled from the sea. The ocean itself holding up the history, the fall, and the silencing. In the 1500s, Portuguese ships arrived with cannon mouths. They didn't come to trade, they came to conquer. They bombarded Kilwa into flames, looted Mombasa, colonized Zanzibar. They tore down mosques and built forts, silenced poets and chained porters. The Swahili fought back, but gunpowder burns faster than coral can heal. Over the next centuries, Omani Arabs took over, then Germans, then British. Each time, new names, new flags, but always the same erasure. By the time colonial textbooks were written, the Swahili cities were gone from memory, called Arab colonies, called ruins without roots. But archaeology disagrees. DNA disagrees. In the blood of coastal Africans, Persian genes mix with Bantu brilliance. But the mother tongue is still Swahili. And the stones? They still remember. In Kilwa's ruins, you can still see the mosque arches. Still run your fingers along carved doorways. Still hear the sea whisper what history tried to silence. We were here, we were thriving, and we are not gone. Today, if you walk through Gedi, you'll see coral ruins wrapped in vines, mosque mihrabs open to the sky, stone benches where poets once sat. In Lamu, life still flows as it did centuries ago. Dhows still ride the tide. Markets hum with mango, fish, and fire. Children trace door carvings like they are reading scripture, because they are. In Bagamoyo, elders still tell tales of golden ships. In Pate, the songs still echo through winding alleys. Scholars are digging, artists are painting, poets are singing again, and the language Swahili is now spoken by over 100 million people. From Congo to Kenya, from coast to classroom, the Swahili didn't disappear. They resurfaced. And every time someone says Africa had no cities, Africa was cut off, Africa didn't matter, you answer, we ran the sea, we built coral palaces, we mixed the world and made it shine. And when they tried to bury us, we became the tide. The Swahili coast was not just an empire, it was a mirror, reflecting what happens when Africa opens her arms to the world on her own terms. They built with coral, traded with poetry, and prayed with pride. They were never lost, just pushed beneath the waves. But the tide always returns. So when you next walk ashore and the sea whispers in your ear, listen closely. You might hear the names Kilwa, Mombasa, Gedi, Zanzibar, Lamu, the cities of the Swahili, still here, still royal. This isn't just history, this is Omar's story, Nook, where truth whispers between the lines and legacy refuses to fade. Until the next whisper of Omar, stay listening. The Swahili city states, not just traders, empire builders in coral and gold.